Just waiting for my internet to hold steady here. It's a bit patchy today. Come on. Welcome to my second stream of The Void, the game that I'm not very good at, and which will soon end in disaster, much sooner than I imagine. It happens every single time I play this game. I think, okay, I'm doing alright here. This might be the one, and then I realize I've completely screwed it up, or the brothers completely screw it up. But we just met Mantid for the first time. What we have to do for now is survive. So a reminder, we just made our way through the Nameless Sister's chambers, Sister Death, and now essentially we're trying to grow enough of the color that Uta and Ava need or want. Now I think we hadn't actually been in here yet after the cycle had regenerated some of the colour, so have a look around. Try and get as much colour as we can, because as you will have just noticed, I have a terribly small amount of colour. Also not sure, just because the internet today, of all days, the one day I can stream this week, has decided to start acting up. I'm not sure exactly how long the stream will go for. If it does become untenable for whatever reason, or sort of continues to be unstable, then I might have to cut it short. But I'm hoping this can be a decently sized one. But let's just fingers crossed. Okay. I think I saw some colour up there. Every time I come back to this game, I really do just wonder about genre. Because you have these, like, platforming elements as well. You have this sort of painting combat against these creatures here. But I am going to try not to waste any of the colour on them. They can go away. But it is just this... Hey, Future Cityscape. No worries if you can't stay very long, but good to see you, good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. It's actually supposed to be a lot more. Got the Oblivion remaster. Oh, awesome! Yeah, I was surprised that those Shadow Drop rumors actually turned out to be true. That we're just gonna go ahead and release it. Is it sort of structurally the same thing?
And vainly. You wasted precious color. You ruined the Nameless Sister's chambers. But worst of all, you almost woke the murderer that lives inside her. You must fix this criminal mistake. Rip her heart out and make her as she was before. You have one cycle to do this. Just one. Do you hear? Then lie still in the void, and humbly wait for us to decide your fate. Because right now, we don't like you one bit.
really do all have fantastic designs. Whaler in particular is a favourite of mine. It's this truly monstrous creature, but also still very human in appearance, but in all the wrong ways. UI and some systems are updated. Graphically looks great. Still Oblivion, still has fun quirkiness. That's cool. That's good. That's really the thing that always kept me coming back to Oblivion was its quirkiness, oddities. Yeah, I guess like the soul of Oblivion is definitely there. That's good because it is like. I guess I was under the impression before it released that there was going to be some sort of remakey elements to it, but it really is just like structurally a remaster rather than a reapproach, which I guess that remake, the fan-made remake, Sky Oblivion or whatever it's called, will sort of fill that role, which I feel. It's good that there's going to be both options there, but it was blocking and stealth, got quality of life updates. Okay, that's good. I always, the combat and the stealth. Well, the whole game really rooted in 2006, so it's nice to know that they had a go at updating some of those things. Still fun. Enemies just collapse. Still good. Things haven't changed. Just still like hitting enemies with a pool noodle until they fall over. Excellent. It was really funny because it was just last week I was talking to a friend, and she and I were discussing this current sort of deluge of remasters. And I was like, like so many remasters that are unnecessary, and the only Elder Scrolls game I even really like anymore is Oblivion because of the nostalgia. And then, funnily enough, of course, a week later, here we are. It was as if the universe was like, okay, now you have to put your money where your mouth is, I guess. Dark Elves are gorgeous too. Their eyes now glow. That's really cool. I just love. When a studio, when they, gets a chance to, like, revisit the art style of a game, it's such an integral part of a game, and how it feels is the art style. And obviously, the Void is a key example of that as well. Is you sort of, if this game was to be remastered, what form would it take? Would it be more high fidelity? Is that really, is that all that matters, sort of thing? Because I was watching I'm just loving using magic and not having half the citizens be racist towards me. That's, yes, it was a bit depressing going from Oblivion to Skyrim back in the day. Speaking as someone else who also exclusively played Dark Elf back in the day, that everyone just decided that Dunmer were no fun to be around, which was slightly disappointing at the time as a younger player.
I will bring you luck.
Okay, did this tree have anything else in it? But I guess like the prevailing interesting question to me is, with these remakes and remasters and the deluge of all of those, is whether where is the next Elder Scrolls game rather than a remaster. And I guess I've seen the theory that this remaster is a sort of a palette cleanser or a reset after a number of sort of high profile stumbles, I guess we could say charitably, from
You're wasting nerve
Bethesda. gold out.
You don't have enough color inside you. You'll die as soon as you leave this chamber.
Yep, it's fine. We've got this. Okay, we're going back to the garden. We've still got a couple of trees blooming here, I think. Not many though. And quite a few predators. I feel like those are the most annoying predators because they got quite a long reach. But I do love the way they look as they sort of drift through the sky. Give credit to Virtuous for this, not really Bethesda. Okay, that was my suspicion as well, given their current track record. I don't want to be that person, but they really have not been the same since 2011, arguably. No, I'm glad to hear that it's good, because I sort of had every expectation that it wouldn't be, to be quite honest. Especially given that Oblivion is, was my first Elder Scrolls and was the one that I returned to the most. Obviously made a video essay on it as well. So I feel strongly enough towards it that I would probably pick it up and buy it and waste another 100 hours of my life doing all the same quests all over again. But the strength of that game was the quest writing, I thought, and that's what kept people coming back to it. And obviously, like the strength of a game's writing is really crucial to me. It's one of the things that I look for, and obviously something like The Void, which has layers of subtext, and is doing all these really interesting things with the game mechanics as well that haven't really been done before or since. That's what keeps me coming back, is the intermeshing of narrative and gameplay. But I guess, yeah, I am going to have to revisit it, I think, because I can't say anything on the remaster without having played it. But I am glad to hear it's good. That does put me at ease a little bit. Massive fan of it, being the first game that gave me true wanderlust. Yeah, that's an excellent point as well. I think it's one of the best games to actually take advantage of like an open world structure. It's quite easy to get lost in that world, whereas a lot of similar open worlds, there's nothing to see, so there's no point to it being open. There's no interesting mechanics encouraging you to wander around. It's just, I feel like I could not be talking about two more different games at the moment, Oblivion and The Void. One is so friendly and like fast travel, and you go wherever you want, and this one is like, if you do not manage your resources well enough, you are going to die.
Come back to my chamber. Time is running out.
Okay, fine. I'm right here. Alright. So I guess we gotta rip her hearts out as Wayla wanted. Presume she's going to tell us something to that effect.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. I didn't know. I will tear out the heart you opened in me. Take it, so they won't dare to touch you. You must act differently and be twice as careful. Don't anger them, and don't offer me any more color. I won't be able to refuse it, and will have to allow you to pass. But you should not go any farther. I know the hearts and colors are there, and your Ola is dying there. But don't. It's better you live than Ola. Go, and be a good apprentice.
torch. This glyph charges the air with color, lighting the creator's path in the dark. The more color that is used to draw the glyph, the farther the light will shine. A second use of the glyph disperses the illumination.
Okay. This game really tests my mediocre drawing skills. To draw a figure eight. Okay. This is another one, I don't know, this is another one that I don't really see as being all that useful. Similar to the lantern in the original Pathologic, none of the environments are really that dark that I need to use it. Again, maybe if I turn the brightness settings all the way down, but is there any point to doing that? Not particularly, if you ask me. Okay. Having found out that the sister quenched her thirst with colour, the guardians were enraged. They demand to visit her, rip one of her hearts out before the end of the cycle. It's meaningless to resist the brothers now. Don't stand a chance against them. There's no other way out. So we've done that. We've done our next task, and we can return to the dialogue we've already read there. So that's good. Just in case we've forgotten what they've said. I feel like more games should have that as a feature. It gets quite annoying sometimes to try and remember everything that's been dumped on you in the course of a single lengthy conversation, especially in an RPG. What was I playing last night? I was playing Yakuza 3, and one of the side quests in that game, you have to deliver noodles to a bunch of different places, and am I going to survive? And you have to basically memorize all of these different locations.
I'm not even sure I can call you that.
Would have been nice if Kiryu had better memory.
A rift in our brotherhood. Many brothers
Or if I had
don't
better
trust
memory.
you. They feel you're a threat to us. A threat of death to the sleeper. Can't you see he's very sick, young one? A strange powerlessness plagues him. He's dying of apathy. So they demand you be thrown down into the nightmare. But there were brothers who took your side and stood up for you. They proposed that you be tested. I, the Manted, the Elder One, listened to both sides and decided to give you a chance. You will be given 3 trials, and this is the first. Prove that you know how to manipulate color. Color is evaporating at this very moment from the walls of 2 mines, Pharynx and Bastion. Preserve it. It won't be easy, but I'll give you a glyph. You must do the rest.
Expose. This glyph is the first of 2 steps necessary to produce color in the mines. When used, Expose shoots a charge into the rock, attempting to break through the crust and expose the vein of color at that location. When the deposit has been revealed, a second glyph, Extract, can be used to pull the color from the vein.
It's remarkable how quickly the game escalates in terms of mechanics that you have to remember, and all of these different characters that are appearing and giving you orders. The game doesn't really waste your time in that sense. Every single decision matters, and I've never seen a game function quite like that before. It is sort of the pinnacle of survival horror, if you take survival horror to be just, pure sort of resource management. If you take resource management to be the core part of that, what makes survival horror survival, The Void is the most meaningful sort of choice-based survival horror that's out there in that sense. Again, I do think it's clumsy to put The Void into like one genre of game and say, there, it's a survival horror, because it's more interesting and more robust than that. But I guess if you are if you were going to, it's not a bad place to start, I think. Okay.
I know you were ordered to collect the golden apples. Pay me in amber or violet, or I won't let you pass. And don't be scared. If you open just one heart, the Whaler will forgive you. Come on, I'm waiting and hungry.
Okay, 200. Amber and violet. We do not have enough of that. So the other thing that the game tells you is that it tells you at some point. Did it tell me last time? If it hasn't already told us, it'll tell us soon that some colors can poison.
I don't want to rot in this corpse anymore.
The sisters.
How long can one exist, yet not live? How long can one sleep while rotting alive? Tell us, how can we keep color forever, so it's always plentiful? You know, don't you? Who else, if not you?
And this is why I think the game works really well as, you know, an allegory for ecological disaster or climate disaster, because there is this desire to pretend things are normal, or to, you know, gather all of the color that you can and sort of see it bloom indefinitely forever. But the void itself is deep into this cycle of entropy. Whee! I don't know why that happens. I love this game's physics. Okay, I'm gonna end up losing a bit of gold, unfortunately. So yeah, that was the mine. But if we also go back to this mine here, but yeah, we're gonna start wasting a little bit of gold. Unfortunately, we don't really have any choice. Okay, new cycle. And here's where, you know, like the time management stuff comes in as well, because we have a certain amount of time to fulfill their needs. And we have all of these sort of conflicting ideas, right? Like the sisters want us to give color, the brothers want us to withhold it.
Color won't flow out by itself. You have to lure it out.
Okay, so there's some over there, so we should have gone the other way, but I'm pretty sure there could be some around this corner as well. But what I like about it is that the ideology, right, is actually baked into the game's mechanics as well. It's not the same as making a decision, you know, in the narrative, like, oh, I'm going to side with, you know, the anarchists or whatever. This is a decision that's based, like, deeply within the mechanics of, you know, this sort of selfishness or selflessness. And of course you can argue, is it really, you know, selfless, or are we chasing after this other kind of reward? In the case of the void, obviously the sisters reward the player with nudity, and some of the sisters, obviously Ava or Ava, actually I think her name can be pronounced either way, but she's obviously one of the more provocative ones. She has the large sort of sphinx statue with bare breasts out the front of her chamber, and as you can see, the camera angle and the poses that she was being made to strike there sort of feels more titillating than some of the other animations, right? I'm just gonna have to get rid of you, I think. That was a waste, I know, but okay. So we got amber and violet here. Let me glyphs. Let me just double check.
Haste.
No,
This
no.
glyph exposed.
Okay, so an upside down triangle.
There's another one
Okay.
over there.
Whoa! What is happening with this game's physics? Wait. No. No. Oh my god, okay. Alright. But yeah, like that's something that I think like a player of the game has to unpick, right? Is, you know, what is the reward you get from doing this? Did that remain exposed? I think it did remain exposed. Okay.
There's another one over there.
Oh, I'm at. Okay. I'm still fine. I'm fine. I do not remember the game's physics being like this, but I'm here for it. It's fine. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, this brother is going for a journey, alright? Okay. Can I get it from this angle?
Stop.
Yes.
That's enough. Something is wrong. They asked you to collect color, but you're doing the opposite.
But this is all they gave me.
You need to gather it from the open wounds before it disappears. But I don't know how. Maybe one of the elder sisters knows.
Look, you know, like, we're in the void. We don't need to obey the laws of physics. We're clearly fine. Clearly everything is okay. Okay, we'll dump some more gold into our heart because that is all we have. Okay, we do need to get... Yeah, look, let's go back to the garden. Apparently there's a bit of blue there to harvest. We might have to lay some bait. See what we can do. Okay. Yeah, so in a few cycles. I feel like most of these. That is weirdly one of the most satisfying things in this game is taking down one of the enemies and just watching them like collapse off to the side. And that's something else, I mean, I'm trying to write a video on is, you know, where do we derive satisfaction from, like, action in? Where do we derive satisfaction from action in video games? Like, where does a certain action become satisfying? That's one of the questions I'm trying to ask myself, and that one will be a long time in the making because I feel like I do need to read quite a bit more to make anything definitive. But I am interested in that dilemma. Okay.
Don't fear death. There is no death in the void.
Because games are all about movement. There's some kind of movement involved in almost every video game I can think of, whether that be the character's movement or your own bodily movement as you control the character. Movement is integral, and quite often, whether we enjoy a game or not, I think comes down to how the controls feel to us. Because quite often I will see people say, you know, oh, these controls, you know, they weren't good enough, and they're speaking about, you know, most often, in my experience, because these are the kinds of conversations I get into, tank controls, right, in classic survival horror stuff. But then you also have people who, if anyone's played Outer Wilds, that's one of my favorite games, which I think has this wonderfully satisfying movement system. But a lot of people, you know, don't like the jetpack. They don't find it very interesting. I used the wrong one. I used the shield. What did I do that for? They don't find it intuitive. You know, that they find that they're breaking things a lot as they like crash the ship or like break their skull on top of a rock or something as they jetpack into, you know, the wrong place. But to some degree, I don't know. I consider all movement in video games along the lines of a fighting game, or this kind of mastery, the sense of mastery that we're supposed to achieve. I got green that I can give. Hey, Alex Cheesecake, how's it going? Do I need the CDs? As tempting as it is, I can't quite grab them at the moment, but I am still interested. Apologies, there's so much going on at the moment. But I will message you after this.
It sickens me the way the brutal brothers are humiliating you.
Thank you for reminding me.
Killed you instead of being such righteous hypocrites. Do you really think you're taking a test to join their brotherhood? The trials you'll be given are impossible. I know what they asked you to do, and I will help, but this is the last time. This heart will allow you to collect color that is trapped in rock. Extract. This glyph is used to extract color from veins in the mines, provided the veins have already been revealed by the expose glyph. When used, the extract glyph animates pure rock and fires it in the shape of a harpoon. When the harpoon hits an exposed vein, color begins to drain out toward the point the harpoon was fired from. These veins of color, just like the trees in the gardens, produce color gradually, often for several cycles.
Right. Okay. So these are the anchors. Once again, everything is a waiting game, so
I was right about you.
you have to be patient.
There was a time when giving color like this was forbidden. The brothers executed anyone who broke the ban. But when color left, they followed after, begging for forgiveness. But they can't do anything because they can't hear color's voice, and they refused to believe us sisters who can. So you could satisfy us and fill our hearts if you wanted to. But you don't give a damn, do you? Go, foul soul. Death is waiting for you.
Death is in the sister. Okay, how much green do we have? It's green and silver. We don't have any silver. We could give the rest of the green, because we don't want to open these other chambers. They will be helpful to us. It's sort of unavoidable, really, that we have to open them up. Okay, so we just need a little bit more. Okay. This game is so confusing. Yeah, I remember being so lost when I first played it that I kept dying in the tutorial area because I didn't realize I was running out of health. And then I think really what doesn't help, obviously, is that the game, in a certain sense, is structured more like the original Pathologic, where characters are all representative of ideologies. But to even more of an extreme than Pathologic, of course. You have all of these sisters and brothers that represent all these different things. The brothers are sort of a bit more like hegemonic, but each sister represents something different, and you have to like unpick things. when you were younger, loved to overthink things like this. Now you can only play pathologic. That's fair. Okay, I'm just going to double check the glyph, just to make sure that I get it right. So yeah, it's like an hourglass. Okay. Why does one have to be all the way up there? Overthinking is my job, so I'm very glad to be able to at some point make a video so other people maybe don't have to overthink it. And I missed. Okay, where do I stand here? Gotcha. Okay. Happy to be the yet another person on the internet who overthinks things, but this time with an explicitly scholarly angle. As a YouTuber, I'm a great overthinker. Thank you very much. I'll put that on my CV or something. Thanks, Future Cityscapes. Good to see you. I hope you enjoy the recording, however long it ends up being. Let's go back down this way. Still need silver somehow. I haven't read anything explicitly game studies in the last week or so. Nothing, nothing particularly relevant to the Void, but I did start reading an interesting book on medieval monsterism, which has, takes this really great approach and looks at monsters as being, creatures of the margin, of things that exist only in the margins of society. And it did sort of spark the question, what gives us the right to consider something, non-human and unworthy of living. Like Lost, super TV show, great art for overthinking. Admittedly, I haven't actually seen very much of Lost. I think I've watched a few episodes here and there, but I do understand that it has that incredible reputation for being like, what the hell is going on? I gotta start taking notes on this. Which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that was the show's undoing in the end, that it could never possibly satisfy everyone based on all of these crazy mysteries that it did set up. So the ending, what wasn't as satisfying as it possibly could have been. But it is, I think a lot of really great art, does prompt, this sort of restless daydreams, like, oh, actually, what does this mean? What am I doing? What is this story actually about, sort of thing. I really hope it comes over here. And it's leaving. Okay. Can I drop it on the stairs? If it sits still. Yes, okay, we got one potentially. Come on. Cool. It's a bit of a waste of gold, but we at least got some amber. You recommend it? Fair ending and you're satisfied. Okay, that's cool. That's not what I've heard from other people I've spoken to, so maybe I'll have to add it to my already absurdly long list of things to watch and play and read. But yeah, it's an infamously long list, but One day I will try it. Oh. Let me... Okay, they made me waste a lot of my health, actually.
Drop by drop. That's how life slips away.
Cool, that's the brothers there, trying to get into my head a little bit. Plant some more. But yeah, there was this idea of monsters as, you know, things that we're allowed to dismiss, but also things that are really alluring. I think that the book cited, you know, Freud's theories on that kind of thing as
The brothers will try to ravage your
things that
gardens.
are really
If
tempting.
you see one heading there, beat him to it and protect your investment. Try to find something you can use as a trap, like a spike of rock. If you animate it with color, it will turn into a formidable weapon. When the keeper enters the garden, the trap will wound him and chase him away.
Okay. I still don't think we have enough of anything to... We will have enough possibly after the pharynx mine there. Top 2 is Sopranos, that's understandable. But yeah, this sort of incredible idea, if you ask me, that monsters at once are these things that oh damn, I'm getting really unlucky with these.
You're losing yourself.
And then yeah, the brothers or color itself, they're lambasting my stupid decisions.
Don't
Cool.
fear death.
That was a fair exchange.
No death in the void. You're one step
obviously-
closer to death.
Damn. There are a number of human bodies that are treated that way at the moment. As queer bodies, often treated as the other. But I guess if you were going to make, you know, try and link medievalism to what is going on with this physics, holy moly! I've never seen, why, this has never happened to me before. Okay, you know, we have the sort of twisted bodies of the brothers who have been destroyed by the nightmare, and these characters are sort of explicitly monstrous. Sometimes body and, you know, mind and ideology, sort of both very evil and, you know, self-serving, but also very, you know, they're trying to protect the environment in the only way that they know how, which is the conservation of colour, which does unfortunately lead to the sisters being horribly mistreated in really awful ways, and that it becomes worse as the game goes on. So you can sort of take the role of anti-brother almost as the game continues. But I guess like Mantid's body in particular, you know, this sort of fear of being in constant pain, or like not recognizing your own body and being made up of these, you know, disparate parts. Okay, we got some more brothers approaching. This is Tyrant, I think. He's meant to be the most powerful. I think he's got the most health. Giant wheel, sorry, made up of hearts, faces, and hands. And this is Triumphator, who doesn't move. Even though he's got legs, he can't walk around. He just sort of teleports and plays music. Okay, so yeah, more and more will appear. We've got the full list here. Yeah, Patriarch is got a very cool design. It's also quite a mellow creature. Ironclad is one of the least memorable. I feel like I always forget Ironclad exists for some reason. Montgolfier is really cool. But Caterpillar, I really like Caterpillar's design. Tyrant's design is pretty cool. Warden is just sort of pure evil, from what I remember. But I often don't get that far. Warden is all the way up here. He's one of those brothers. It doesn't emerge until a couple more cycles, I think. Okay, I think I gotta go here. Really, every second that I try and explain the game is an absolute waste of time. Okay, let's harvest this color here. Let's try and avoid killing any more predators, because as you can see, the more I kill, just the more that spawn. Fortunately, yeah, these guys are pretty easy to ignore. Okay, so we grab that, and again, just like the trees, we're gonna get diminishing returns from each of these, which is why it's really important to properly plant the right colors, because again, like I might have made a mistake by giving away most of my green before, because now I have to find a new source of green and begin to harvest that. So what I will do after I jump out of here again is I'm just going to save the game. This will be a really good point to possibly return to. We're going to run over to the garden, I think, and we're going to see...
You're wasting Nerva from your hearts.
Blue. I can put some of that blue back. I'm really glad for that warning. Okay. So you have all of these brothers wandering around now.
You're almost depleted.
I can't recall how many times I've heard that. You're almost depleted, you're dying voice line. So we're still waiting for that tree to revive. I'm hoping just one more cycle, because all the trees in this garden are depleted. And yeah, we got very little color left to harvest from here, other than from these really risky fireflies. They're very hard to actually bait properly. And now I'm just idly wondering what the heck a speedrun of this game looks like. I know death, pretty easy to speedrun dying, but actually finishing the game must require an incredible amount of planning. I doubt many people speedrun this game, but have to look into it later. Okay, so yeah, basically all out here, and no new trees we can plant out just yet, which does leave us in kind of a dodgy situation. Okay. And yeah, they don't make a sound until they've already landed. Okay, go for it, go for it. No, it's rolling away. I'm really hoping they never go the way I want them to. They never go the way I want them to. Okay. Absolutely hopeless. Okay. I'm gonna wander back along this way. And then I'm about to die. Here. Pop some violet in there. Okay. Have a meeting with someone else.
Strongest of the brothers. Some of us doubt whether
He's not humble.
one of the righteous. Your appearance suggests that you have not suffered even 100th of what we went through for our ascension. So expect to prove your worth. If you are not who you say you are, then you are an enemy and a threat to the say because you are mute. I will not waste time on the obvious. If you come to tempt, destroy, there is no point in sharing knowledge with you. He brings death to the sleeper. He must be executed, brothers, and executed at once.
Okay, so he's not a fan of us. We're just gonna meet all of them.
Brothers. He's not alive, he's quite dead. He's silent because he didn't pass the trials yet. And that's how it should be. You have already heard the first commandment. Thou must keep and must not give. I will tell you the truth about the blessing of consumption. Giving is an unquestionable evil. Therefore, consumption is an unquestionable good. But brothers, do not consume to survive. We consume only to preserve.
This is the ideology I'm talking about.
Because one who gives will fall prey to this addiction. Listen to the voice of color, young one, and do not be tempted. Follow the true path, and you'll be glorified alongside the righteous ones. Then the secrets of life will reveal themselves to you.
So I really like this idea of someone like pulling themselves out of the realm below the void, and that's, you know, transforms them into these creatures that have lost much of their humanity, and their sort of ideology has become, you know, almost unfathomable. You know, like, if giving is this unquestionable evil, then consuming therefore must be unquestionable and good. So we have this really bizarre ideology that does take a bit of time, I think, to sort of wrap your head around and understand. And I think the temptation at the start of the game is to say they look and sound really evil, and they are, but there is still some truth to their words. Hello, Bam Kazam, how's it going? And the structure of this, like, moral dilemma, right, is that we have to think through the mechanics of the game because of the ideologies that are being presented to us.
Riches will come to you soon.
And actually surviving, it's you have to listen to what the characters are telling you, and you have to determine whether or not they're telling the truth about their ideology, and therefore whether they're telling the truth or not about the game's mechanics itself. So this really intoxicatingly bizarre set of, you know,
I will teach you to be
sort of struggle. It's really hard to describe. It's a really hard game to describe, but it's really unique interplay between playable ideology, so stuff like Ian Bogost, you know, and I've come around a little bit, you know, on Ian Bogost, but I think only in the sense that I like the core idea of procedural rhetoric, which is every game has an argument, but a game doesn't have to be a serious game. It doesn't have to be trying to teach you something deliberately about the actual world. I don't think it can be. It can be any game, and obviously some games will have much looser morals than others, and others might be, you know, incoherent as a result of not being designed seriously. But I think every game's gameplay can still, like, teach us about the ideology sort of present within the game, and, you know, what is it actually trying to teach us? It's constantly, you know, fascinating question to me. How much green do we have? No green. Pop that in one of the hearts, and there as well. I really don't want to have to kill them, but I have a feeling they're gonna target me as soon as I try and harvest from this tree. Okay. Just, yep. Okay. Away you go, you weird bat thing. Okay. Right, at least this time being slightly more sensible. Okay, now there is another tree we could plant in here, which I might do. So we go back down. I think that one's finally ready to be planted. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I find the idea of games, you know, only serious games can teach us about the world. I find that kind of disconcerting, though I understand why that was the initial, you know, hypothesis drawn back when Boggart wrote that book. It's still, you know, I don't know, disconcerting to me. I feel games can offer more than that, and obviously, if you read something like Ludotopias, you know, edited by Aspen Arseth, you know, this really, you know, sort of vibrant set of, you know, rules for interacting with spaces and play comes through, even in games that aren't, you know, meant to be, you know, now sit down and listen, you know, I'm going to teach you something about how the world works. Because like, not every game can operate like that, and if only serious games can teach people things, then, you know, like, you're sort of devaluing the real lessons and, you know, like, life-changing realizations that other games can prompt in people. It doesn't matter how silly that some of them, you know, appear to be on the surface at the very least. The gameplay or the narrative can teach you a lot. Okay. We might have enough amber and stuff now. God, the heartbeat sound is really sort of ramps up the tension, doesn't it? Okay. So we'll go try and open both sets of chambers. I still haven't found any silver, but we do need to go into this mine, I think, and harvest that. So this is our priority here. If we wait too long, I'm pretty sure either the game ends, or we enter a fight that at this stage of the game is not really winnable. So yeah, the time pressure is really on. You can quite quickly render the game unwinnable because of all kinds of stupid decisions that I will definitely end up making, I feel like. Okay. So, we're back. You need another 150. I have another 150. And much more besides. Okay. Can I have some more? And I'll give you the rest of the violet as well. Violet. Let's see how much. Another 50. Cool. I think, yeah, their stance changes for every heart that you open. And the amount of, like, petals or whatever change. Yeah, chains.
Color gives us strength.
Never mind, she's going to explain it.
Free me from these bonds, golden eyes. Your reward will be more than generous. So, you want to get past me into the mine to serve Master Color?
That's right.
And how were you hoping to do that, golden eyes? Could Uta have given you the heart already? I don't believe it. Uta wouldn't lift a finger for you. Poor thing has a hard time as it is, but then the Mantid has no sense of humor at all. Which, you know, again, like, makes me wonder
how much interaction do the sisters get with each other? Okay. Are they allowed to leave their chambers? Do they like to send messages through the brothers? Okay, is it gonna happen again? No, this time we did not get the weird physics zoom me around the edge of this room glitch. But yeah, I really love the designs of these spaces, and I love the soundtrack as well. But it's just, these are environments, you know, unlike any other video game. They just environments you can fall into, environments you can lose yourself in, and since time doesn't pass, obviously, in those environments, I think it's very, just gonna save again, very soothing. It's a nice way to relieve yourself from the stress of the overworld of traveling. You can actually just spend a minute to
See that
sit
spot
down
in
and
the
breathe.
rocks where you can see color? That's a deposit. Break the rocks in that place, if you have the strength.
So this is one of my favorite locations in the whole game. It really reminds me of these sorts of like fantasy drawings that always sort of drew me in, of like ancient fortresses by the coast, with these sort of ancient statues. We sort of got like almost a bird-like figure looming, could probably be one of the predators, right, looming over the top here, that I think sometimes these creatures land on.
There's another one over there.
Okay, I'm really hoping from here I can shoot this right. Excellent. Okay, there's another heart there as well. And down here we have these really weird, creepy, sort of bulbous creatures. But this place is full of predators, so we do have to be quite careful, which is why I saved it before I came in here. But this soundtrack, I think this is the Void soundtrack I've used the most in my video essays. I find it so relaxing, but also, yeah, deeply, obviously, like most of the soundtracks that are in this game, sort of melancholic in this very bizarre way. It's using electronic instruments in a way that I feel like they aren't normally used, and you know, it interests me. It also reminds me of the soundtrack of Endless Space, actually. Sort of feels like a precursor to those Amplitude Studios, you know, strategy games soundtracks in a way. And obviously, I think the first Endless Space and this soundtrack, I sort of tie them together in my mind. For whatever reason, I link the two quite strongly together in my head. Okay, so can I shoot this one from here? What a terrible triangle.
There's another one over there.
Okay. It's so dubious, this thing. I'm so terrible at shooting it.
That's how life slips away.
Okay, I am gonna grab the heart in a second. I just want to see, you know, we might as well. How high can we go? We can go all the way up around here, and then potentially all the way to the statue. So I'm tempted, just because, you know, there's time, to just wander around and show off the space, because it also, yeah, vaguely reminds me of sort of near, you know, coastline, rocky coastline near to where I grew up. This sort of the endless promise of the ocean and the horizon, but in the case of the Void, is slightly distorted and disturbed by the fact that, yeah, we have these giant walls surrounding us and just this endless ocean here. So another thing that it recalls is Water Prison World from Silent Hill 4. I just think it's one of my favorite visual ideas, just from anything, is a single location, single island, surrounded by just endless water, just no end to it. It's this inherently poetic idea. It really speaks to me personally. And then you have this music, you have these other visuals, you have this landscape that looks like it was once a part of some greater whole, but no longer is, and just completely shattered. It almost looks like the top has been ripped off or something, you know, like it used to be covered. And now we have this great sort of stone predator, and all these other predators have moved in to observe what's going on. Just this really sublimely beautiful area. And I think what interests me about moments of the sublime in video games, you know, moments where you feel like dwarfed by whatever it is you're seeing, like truly awed and almost afraid. Like the sublime is kind of adjacent to fear in that we have like feelings of being almost consumed or threatened to be consumed by something larger than human beings. And what that does is that it connects to this sort of, you know, object-oriented ontology, which at the very least, you know, levels the playing field and says, no, you know, humans might be, you know, a separate category, some object-oriented ontologists will tell us, but, you know, we're all on the same level. We're on the same playing field, you know. We're no more important than a rock, which, you know, given we live in such a, you know, anthropocentric world, such a human-centric world, it's a really hard concept to wrap your head around. I don't think we can get any higher than this, sadly. I think my platforming skills have... Oh, no, okay. Never doubt yourself, that's the story there. But, you know, just this fascinating alien environment, and what feelings of the sublime video games do, first of all, is just impress me that, you know, digital world can make me feel as small as I do, you know, when I stare up at an old mansion or a massive mountain or something, or, you know, this great valley in the actual world. I think, you know, that it's impressive that the game can do that in the first place. Oh, here I go. Okay. Right. Get that hard. Yeah, sadly, we really couldn't get any higher than that. I was really pushing the limits there. But, you know, there's something really compelling, I think, about being able to interact with this world that makes us feel small.
And wait until they fill with color. We'll see if you can hold color from all the 6 deposits. Wasp. This glyph creates an annoying golem out of dust and dead roots. After creation, the wasp golem follows its creator until it's chased away with a drop of color. Annoyed at its rejection, the golem leaves its master and seeks out an enemy to harm. Upon colliding with the target, the wasp golem explodes and dies, scalding the victim with released color. The more color the golem is charged with, the farther it sees, and the greater the damage it does on collision. One heart. The second might be in the next chamber, and might not.
So there is an exit point down there, but no, I think, you know, in the era that we're living in, where the impulse is still to consume as much as we can and to sort of carry it on like things are going normally. I think it is important that we have games that can prompt feelings of we are not at the top of this, of this world. Like there are things that aren't even, we don't need to reorder the hierarchy. We don't need to say, okay, well, these big bad things, they're better than us, right? Or whoever built this fortress, they're better than us. But even just placing ourselves on an equal level is this really crucial step, I think, in recognizing and empathizing with other living beings, not just other humans, but with the world around us, and seeing it as it is, rather than just something to be to move through without thinking. Perceiving of yourself as the heart of the world or whatever. I wish it weren't a common attitude. That I wish I could say I've never seen or met anyone who thinks that way. But those people do exist, and I do think I had this really wonderful discussion a couple of times with people just about how important it is that the media that we consume, that we think about it critically. And I don't want to be the person who says, had to stop having fun, because of course I want everyone to have fun. I want everyone to enjoy themselves. I want them to play the games that they're interested in. But even just the stuff that we consume passively, what messages is that sending to us? What is that telling us about the world? I see you there. I see you. You're about to interrupt me. And I don't know. I want to be, I can't say I'll end up making a huge impact or anything, but I do want to be the YouTuber, the streamer who helps, even just a little, to sort of say, okay, how actually are we thinking critically in the situation, or what is this work of art actually telling us? Because I want people to really love and think about the stories that they're telling, and the stories that they're reading and listening to. I just think stories are so important, and so many people undervalue them, and they undervalue the process of them as well. The process of telling them, the process of writing them. We look at the end result, but I think what we should be more interested in is just sharing an experience with somebody, and that's sort of partly what these streams are about, is me sharing my experiences as much as I can.
Wait, Golden Eyes. I'll teach you. Open your soul and show me your hearts. See? Each color grants you its gift. One will protect you, another grants you luck, and the third makes you a formidable foe. The more of a color you have in one of your hearts, the stronger its gift will shine, and the stronger that ability will be in you. But only while that color is in your body. My favorite, Violet, gives inspiration. Before you give color to a tree in the gardens, fill yourself with violet. You'll need much less color to wake it completely.
Okay, so again, here is where things get really complicated, because now we're thinking about what colors we actually have in our system and how that's affecting us. And quite often, to be quite honest, I'm not a good enough player of this game to actually stay on top of that. A lot of the time, the colors I put into my system are based on necessity.
That's how life slips away.
Okay, got one violet tree growing. This is the trap we can place. So if a brother was to come by and try to harvest, we could place some color down. place some blue down as well. Here we go. So yeah, you can. These trees take a lot more color, so we want to make sure we can actually fill them up as well, right? So we have a lot of color in the wings here, and we've protected those 2 trees. But I'm hoping a brother won't come by until we've planted a couple more, because we do need to just sit back here and wait for the mine to become available. There's my favorite sister there, 1 set of chambers away. Okay, and then there.
He's not dead. He is not like any of us.
I think he's just not mineral because everyone else looks just so much more interesting, and he's just like a head in a pipe.
He's growing nervous to give.
And his boss fight kind of sucks, so I feel like I blotted it out of my memory.
He's not a defender. He's like a virus. He came here to sicken our heaven and feed off it. The sleeper is already plagued by disease. He has lost his desire and will. Heed my words. The young one is here to deliver the last blow. Those are my words. He brings death to the sleeper. Confine him or throw him into the nightmare.
Okay, we'll just wait for this cycle to end. We do need more green and we need more silver to give to Uta. We'll get this done first. I'm hoping some silver will spawn in soon. Okay, let's go and harvest all of this then. I think we should, maybe we'll need to put some more amber away actually. Let's have a look. I'll just put a bunch in. These ones here. Cool. Yeah, I do love how bodily this game is, how focused it is on bodies, and how important the bodily experience is. Because again, like that is a topic that's interesting me more and more, I think, speaking personally, and obviously relating to queer bodies and seeing myself in queer bodies is very relevant to me, but also just how bodies in general like interface with video games, I think is an interesting question. You know, the idea of the heart rate spiking, or the palms getting sweaty, or even just the way that you sit. Like, are you relaxed? Are you tense? Are you so relaxed that you're not even really paying attention? How are your eyes? Are you're squinting, trying to see? Are your eyes wide, sort of terrified, or so engaged you can't look away, or shocked? Or games and media can be so, can really like prompt you to inhabit yourself in that way, to be aware of yourself.
Looks like you're ready to face the mantid now. Maybe that's what he wanted from you.
I don't know. It's just fascinating to me to have games like, I didn't think of them as bodily experiences until, not very long ago at all, really.
I am Caterpillar, your mentor, and you are nobody, yet.
Is that very
Your
nice?
one right and one responsibility is to study. The first lesson will merely give you food for reflection. Lymph of any color is precious. You must listen to the will of every color and combine colors carefully, as they do not like each other. The colors were a shocking discovery for us, as I know they are for you. There was nothing like them in our world. Lympha is our posthumous reward. We serve the Creator by preserving Lympha, but remember this. We do not know how to serve the colors. That is why color and danger are equal. Hearing the voice of color is a bad omen. Only the Devastators have this gift, but no one knows why. Perhaps you can help answer our questions.
I just really like Caterpillar's design, I think almost exclusively because of those really cool cables that are connecting his torso to his legs. So again, yeah, we have just so much going on. Obviously, like the game is telling us about all these different things. How much space do I have? I'm going to need to free up more blue space. That'll be enough. Excellent. Okay. I'll plant some amber here, I think. Especially good because I've actually got this protected for now.
Remember I told you about the magic of violet? Well, silver does the opposite. The more silver there is in you, the less damage you'll do to a sister's realm.
I still haven't found any silver at all, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. How much violet? Don't have any violet, so I should be able to harvest all 101. It seems like such a bounty the first time you come by a garden after you've planted it full. And then just the feeling of like getting diminishing returns from it is actually really intimidating. Just this knowledge that, yeah, like everything you've done is actually going to start like ticking away. I'm going to do a little... I'll do a bit more gold here, because even just to survive would be good.
You will die because of this.
Yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence. Okay, and does that leave us with one tree? Yes, it does. Okay. So, I mean, I'm hoping that I'll be able to find enough green or enough silver that I can open those other chambers as well. Okay. What do we have down here? There's a little bit of green. Yeah, we got to see Mantid, but Mantid is hiding, so we do need to open that with some green, actually.
I'm scared. Why aren't you coming?
See, that was Ola. As the sister sort of promised to us, but by the time we get there, it won't be great. A lot of the game will have passed, probably, by the time we arrive there. Come on. Green, thank goodness. Okay. Probably still not quite enough green. But it's okay. Alright. But yeah, there's just heaps that is in this game that just isn't in any other game in quite the same fashion. There's no game that has quite the same amount of both respect and disrespect for you, right? I mean, that's really...
Before battle, it's best to fill yourself with crimson. Then your blows will be much more powerful.
Yeah, thanks. I don't have any crimson, but I'll keep that in mind. What was I... Just, yeah, like, it doesn't... There's nothing in the gaming industry quite like the Void, still. and it's been a long time. 2008. Nothing that respect. Nothing that has quite the same amount of respect and disrespect for you, the player, right? I think there's almost a sense that the game loathes you, but the longer you survive, I think the game, as much as the game gets more and more punishing, I think you can sort of hold yourself up and say, well, you know, like, I've made it this far, like I triumphed over all of these obstacles that the game put in my way. I understood what the game was trying to tell me, and I think that warrants, you know, does warrant some pride. I think, like, you are allowed to be, it's the kind of game you actually are allowed to be proud of yourself for finishing, or for getting through towards the end. Because it's, a bloody difficult, bloody confronting game. Okay, you go for that, please. No? Okay, you're just gonna go as far away as possible. It'd be nice if this one went for it. Excellent. 2 with 1, that's not bad. Okay. Okay. Let's keep looking around. I think I've still got that tree over there to grab some stuff from. I could try and get this one. Okay. No, not emerald. Anything but emerald. I need emerald. Okay. Still don't think, is 55 going to be enough? I actually can't remember how much I already fed her, but I don't think that'll be enough. Okay, let's just go and see anyway, and then if there's time I'll run back and plant some more there. Oh no, he's mounted. No, it's pit. Which is also a pretty cool design, honestly. Wish I could drive one of those to work. And yeah, here's Patriarch, who is one of the most sort of twisted and deformed of the brothers. Also implied to be the oldest, I think, because of the name and because of the sort of walking frame that he uses. This is, the one whose body is a cage, which is also a really awesome design. He just seemed to me to be quite deliberately cruel and sadistic.
This was a test of your intuition.
Here we go.
A very tricky test. And of course you failed. In fact, you couldn't pass. The truth was clear from the beginning. What was Montgolfier thinking? Look at yourself. Imposter. Do you think it's this easy to trick us? The strange pulsations in your body, haven't you noticed? You're converting color. You're turning the last drops of our heaven's blood into poison, into an acid that will burn us all. You should be executed for this at once. But I have a better way. Not everything is lost. But this is your final trial. Go to the ancient reservation in Uta's chamber, where dwells a huge penguin, a parasitic dragon-like creature that dissolves color.
God, I love the designs. They're so creepy, so good.
I give you 5 cycles, young one, to
So yeah, here's the next test. We gotta kill a giant dragon-like monster. Thanks, Warden. Okay. So now we've learned all the basics. It's gotta do a boss fight. Okay. How many hearts? How much color do I need to unlock this chamber in the first place? Oh my goodness. The physics, I do not remember the physics in this game being like this. I swear this didn't happen, it used to happen to me. Okay. That's alright. It's very amusing. Alright, so in here. Let's see. Another. Oh, yeah. We do have enough. For some reason I thought there was like 80 to go or something.
You're a cruel one, Muti. We sisters can't refuse color. By opening my heart, you're dooming us both to death. If you want to die so badly, visit the Ripper yourself. I don't want my death to come at the point of the manted spear.
Okay, but we did need to open your chambers, I'm afraid. Okay. So we can go have a look at the pangolin. I'll save it. It's in, yes, Pangolin Reservation. All the nice, lovely giant monsters hang out. So yeah, we can have a look. And we've got, yeah, actual boss fight stuff up the top right. And a heart up there, and a lot of predators. Now the pangolin itself actually is huge. Yeah. And very, very creepy. As with all of the creatures in the void, totally does not seem like it could exist on Earth. Just this absolute monstrosity.
If you have a lot of patient emerald, color will become...
And I'm just going to reload because that was a complete waste of time. Okay, this is also a reservation which has nothing in it. And yeah, that's just where Mantid lives. Okay. Alright, let's try that again. There's just so many creatures. Okay. And we're going to try and go for the heart. I don't recall actually what the best strategy is to beat the pangolin, but we're gonna try. So just gonna boost myself with just a little bit more health. You can see that, yeah, the more blue we have in the system, the faster we move, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. We go for this heart if we can.
Bait. This glyph creates a static golem from dead roots that will attract small creatures from the farthest corners of a reservation. The glyph requires a lot of color, and the golem will not live long.
I think this is a technically more effective method to gather the fireflies, right? So they'll all come running over, but you do have to spend a bit more. So you can see a lot of color, yeah, at least 50, and they'll all come zooming over. And from there you can try and harvest them all. So it is more effective. It's like watching one of those mobile game ads where the person like just isn't doing what you want them to do. Like, how could they let all of that color just get away? It's infuriating. Okay. Oh god.
you doing? It's a pangolin. You can't break his shell no matter how much color you put into the blow. He's only vulnerable from the inside, and don't stand under him. These predators are like black holes. Everything dissolves inside them, even color.
Okay, so we have to get him to devour stuff, right? So we figured out that doesn't work.
Morgan thought of a devious trick. He realized who you are, but tried to turn you into a lifeless container, like the rest of them. He should have stopped your hearts too. But in you, the scythe met a stone, and it turned out it was no match. Which means you're the one I need. You didn't pass their trial, but you passed mine. I will help you now, because I need you alive. You should acquire the heart containing the web glyph. It's kept somewhere in Una's domain. We should go there.
So potentially the owner of the void here is talking to us. Just quickly plant this before we leave. So yes, we can't kill the pangolin just yet. Although I swear that we can feed him stuff from memory. It blows him up from the inside. But I also, this is another great bit of music. But I also love the ambient noise of him swinging through these trees. I think at first maybe you don't recognize either that these are trees, but once again you have this like truly ancient, like awful, awful looking sort of forest off in the distance, potentially just impossibly huge. It just does not seem to exist on a scale that we can actually recognize. So again, we're tapping into the sublime and feelings of confusion and awe and fear, excuse me. But for now, yes, we'll just leave. So we do need to go see Una. So we do need to give more green and more silver to Uta. But in order to do that, we need more green and more silver. Looks like Montgolfier is stealing whatever color is down there.
So that's what he's like. Agreed, quite extraordinary. But I believe him, brothers. He's just like us. Greetings, young one. Welcome to heaven. You'll soon stand side by side with us as an equal, so don't feel too offended. I know that you, like us, ascended here from the abyss of the nightmare. As our apprentice, I now ask you to prove your righteousness with actions. Act with dignity and honesty, so that none of your detractors can blame you. They'll fall silent, I give you my word. Then there will be a feast, and you will be told our revelations. For now, obey your mentors and learn. Your only task is to finish your apprenticeship. So let us say goodbye for now.
Okay, so
You're
we
almost
met him.
defeated. You're dying.
Yep, thanks, Sister Death, that's great. Okay. If we go down this way...
You're wasting nerva from your hearts.
Blue again. I need to pay close attention to that, don't I? Put that all in there. So yeah, they really do just like drain a lot of the color that you actually need. And we'll see if So yeah, they've taken literally everything that might have remained there, and Montgolfier is about to take everything from that one as well. These still not ready to be planted, so we'll wait. We'll just wait another 2 seconds. 2 ticks up the top. Cool.
Gold, emerald, violet, amber, azure, violet, crimson, silver, amber, violet, amber, azure, gold, amber, emerald, silver, emerald, azure.
Feast. Some see colour as food, others see it as fuel, and some feel an autonomous will within it and tremble and think and wonder, can it be pleased with a sacrifice? Some are thankful to just keep the crumbs, others spend while it lasts, but everyone wants the same, plentiful colour forever. Can it be summoned? Can it be created? Is anyone given the gift to hear it and understand its needs? Feast. So lots of colour abound, don't get used to it. But we have a new sister, who's a wandering sister. She's going to come and talk to us. I think she's quite a popular sister, as far as I understand. I feel a little bad for the brothers who are wrong to trust you, despite being a horrible headless machine man thing. Patriarch seems quite nice. Agreed.
Color will never again be in abundance.
I like
and
Patriarch.
I foresee the void dying soon. Did you think it would live forever? So a new sister was born. What of it? Ola was born for our guest. But since he only brings death to the void, Ola can only help him prepare the sleeper for death. Dear guest, we waited for you so long. Go. Do what you must. Choose one of us. Collect color. And tear the sleeper apart to ease his suffering.
I mean, this philosophy, this idea, I think, appeals to me as a person. I think the idea that we do have to accept that things do end, and that we have to move on, that we can't stay in stasis forever, we can't pretend that things are going to be the same, that change is, necessary, even if that change does look, on the face of it, negative, because the void will cease to exist, but something will rise to take its place, provided we play our cards right anyway. But yeah, I always loved Patriarch. He was always a good friend. I'm pretty sure, I love Montgolfier as well. He always seemed quite relaxed to me. I think we're about to talk to. Yep.
Good. One of the rebels has been punished, while the others are excited by rumors that color has reappeared. Visit them, brothers, and remind your murderer that they should not hope for change. We will guard our heaven and reclaim its strength and dignity. As for this young one,
I never noticed he never really had hands.
He's small, but I sense that he can see. He's not a follower, he's a mute. The righteous must be blind, and have no doubts in order to glorify this holy place. I don't believe him, and I won't teach him. He is mute, therefore he is alive. There is a living one among us, brothers, and he is bringing death to the sleeper.
Excellent. So we're not to be trusted, because we're a player and we bring agency to this horrible place, and we can decide to destroy it, which they don't like. Why do I keep loading up with blue? I'm full of blue. Let's go gold. How are you doing though, Frank Lenses? Good to see you. Where's it going? Okay, up here to harvest all of this as quickly as possible. Go, 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 go. And then back to the mines. Okay, and then we want to open these chambers as quickly as possible as well. But that's another 400 color. or something. It's quite a lot. Anyway, we'll harvest as much as we can from here. Let's get rid of this fella. What is with the... Whoa. What's with the hit detection today? I really don't know. Okay. Collision is acting up. Okay, that's everything. A lot of this. It's good. Would have been here much earlier if I hadn't overestimated the difficulties of waking up in time. That's alright. When I started this off, I think the first 20 minutes, I was like struggling to think of anything coherent. But now I feel like I've woken up and I'm saying things that actually make sense, which is good. Okay. Do more violet, maybe. No, I just started rambling about the importance of stories and storytelling and critical thinking. So my usual spiels, but the Void in particular, I think, brings that out, right? Actually does make you think critically about the world that you are opting to inhabit, and play a really important role in shaping. And again, I think the climate allegory, I mean, it's a really easy way to read the game these days, but I do think it rings true as a work of climate fiction, talking about the world that is to come, right? I think it's very easy to identify those themes. And identify also how difficult it is to actually figure out, what can we do in this sort of world-altering scenario.
One step closer to death.
And it's very scary, right? Very easy to be frightened by it, which is why I think being able to play through a scenario like this, nightmare scenario, is really valuable, because I think it does help you, in a sense, like come to terms with concepts like entropy and that kind of thing. I can't remember when I first played this exactly. 2019, 2020. I came to it, comparatively late. Never actually considered that interpretation. That seems to be my favorite lens to read it by at the moment, as this sort of allegory for change and for a dying world, or a world that will soon be transformed into something else, and a world that can't play by the same rules that we're playing by now. Let's go to the mine and see. But yeah, I think these ideas of abundance, of like this is what the sequence of the game is all about, right? Is color is everywhere, and you're going to have such a bounty, and there's an excess to feast on. And then it swiftly becomes a lack rather than an excess. I'm just going to go the other way. One of the great things about stories, this abstract and mythological, is that you can see it in so many different ways. I agree. There's something really, really magical about a story that's rooted in this, strong ideological, bent.
Larger and smaller. When you catch them, wait until they are big. But remember, if you wait too long, they will disappear.
Is that like they're open, I think, to the viewer to interpret, and it's the viewer's interpretation, obviously, that transforms a lot of these narratives and and makes it like feel very personal and very profound, which is why I like it so much. Where did the blue one go? Is that also like when you come back to it, you can read it in a different way, which again was like a magic part of storytelling that, you know, until someone had said that out loud to me, that every time you engage with the narrative, you engage with it anew. Like, I hadn't really considered that before, you know. I sort of thought, oh no, I'm revisiting this for like nostalgic reasons. There's nothing special about it, nothing different about my experience with it. But you know, of course there is. These things are really quite creepy, aren't they, with the sort of what looks like a bunch of heads sort of mulched together. Okay, I'm gonna give her some amber and violet.
You're almost depleted. You're dying.
Yep, thank you. I love hearing that every 5 seconds. I've still yet to find a game that has its own, you know, profoundly weird mythology like this. Like it is this genuinely alien game. It sort of comes from a school of design that, you know, doesn't exist on this planet in any other fashion.
Wait.
I feel like.
The more gold there is in you, the faster you'll feed me.
Okay, hang on then. I'll load myself up with a little bit more gold. Okay. And yeah, 400, so still quite a ways to go. Feels so horrible. You really do feel that like terror when you're giving away all of that colour. But yeah, I feel like there's some weight to considering it like this, the most extreme possible survival horror game you could ever conceive of. Like it's the principles of that genre maybe taken to the utmost, but layered in a narrative that can speak to every player personally in a different way based on their beliefs. Is a game really worth playing if you don't suspect an alien trying to cryptically uplift us was on the dev team? No, I don't think so. I don't really see the point if if you're not being radically transformed by a game, which is what, you know, I was having this. I'll bring the remaster discussion back up. You know, I wish there were more experiences like this rather than just remasters. You know, I sort of almost feel guilty for being vaguely, you know, being interested in the Oblivion remaster, for instance. Okay, maybe we can plant some more stuff here. When I feel like, you know, I would rather have like just one more game like The Void by now, please. But obviously that doesn't happen. Okay, they've completely drained this, and I'm still waiting. I totally forgotten how long it took. How many cycles. I feel like I underestimate it every time I try and play this. It's just horrendous. Okay. Nope. Nope. Yeah, I think they've taken everything from here and there's nothing I can plant, so gonna have to survive the next cycle, like waiting for nothing to happen. I could go and plant some stuff in this reservation. I think there's a couple of little trees. Okay, Tyrant tried to take my colour from there. I'm gonna have to replant that. There's no way to predict either, I don't think, you know, who's going to come round, unless there is an actual pattern.
Sisters, rejoice, they say.
That's
Colours
coded in
come
every
back.
time.
But what of it? Even if there is a wave of color before the end, it will change nothing.
So you have this
The void
fatalism.
isn't alive anymore, it just exists. What will we use color for? To paint the dead and dying? No sisters are born anymore, which means there's no use for color. Nobody to ascend. All this inane joy, it only comes from the horrors of our long famine. When someone loses their soul and falls into slumber, they have no future.
Yeah, we also... This other interpretation of the game obviously as... Whoa, no! Why does it do this to me? Oh my goodness. Ugh, okay. Why does this keep happening? I just want to jump. Okay. I just want to be free. Just leave those creatures. Let's see. Oh, this thing. Summoner. It's a mycelium creature. Touch its trunk with color. It will start singing. Attracted by its song, spawns will emerge from underground. Okay. I gave it one color, which obviously means it doesn't sing for very long. And we can we'll give it a little bit more. From memory, I don't remember this being all that useful, but I did want to at least try to show it off. But yeah, like, spawns will appear all over the chamber, but...
I will teach you discipline.
Okay, 2 silver, that's the most silver we've seen so far. Okay, come on. Okay, 21 silver. We could plant one of these trees with silver now. Okay, maybe it's slightly more useful than I gave it credit for. Jump. Okay. Yeah, I feel like those things take a lot of color to kill, so there's not even any point dealing with them. Is that everything? Whoa. I really don't remember the game being this jumpy when I've played it the last few times, but what do I know? I love the, you know, abstract shapes and rocks that loom out of the darkness. Again, that feeling of being like totally lost in this alien world that doesn't really care about you in any fashion whatsoever. Okay, silver. Put all the silver in this heart and process it, and then plant it somewhere. Okay, jump back down.
You're wasting nerva from your hearts.
Oh, now what? Gold? Okay. It's this constant reorganizing of the inventory, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Again, these sort of principles of survival horror turned up to the most extreme, where it's actually an act of body horror to rearrange your inventory. Montgolfier is taking all of that. He's very greedy. Okay. And I processed enough silver to plant 1 tree, so we'll do that before the cycle ends. Quickly duck back in and get some more silver and green, so we can give that to Uta. Just trying to avoid getting into any fights. But yeah, I love how each chamber sort of feels like it could have come from some different, you know, civilization or some different memory within the body of the person who is who is supposedly dying, you know, the person's who fell into a coma or something and who has been slowly fading away ever since.
You're wasting your soul.
Yeah, well, I have to survive, so... Person's got to eat. Alright, let's just stay here for a second. Okay, we're gonna... Yep. You don't need to intimidate me. I'm following the commandments. Okay. Don't hurt me. Please. Ugh. Okay, let's just harvest. Let's harvest as much as we can. I'll duck out and then duck back in. The classic video game strategy. When faced with conflict, just step outside and then step back inside and they will have forgotten you existed. Okay. More violet, which is good. More crimson, which is also good.
Don't fear death. There is no death in the void.
Really, just, yeah, these bizarre, absolutely bizarre creatures. I'll come back around for that, I think. This creature doesn't want to leave me alone. Actually, you know, I'm probably gonna regret these words, but I actually am impressed that I have not had to reload a save yet. I actually think I've died yet either, which personally I consider very impressive because I don't normally play this well. I guess I'm playing live, so you know the pressure's on. I have to present well for future generations. I'm very, very much tempting fate, but you know, like all the power has gone to my head, the color has gone to my head. What are they gonna do? Mismanage color? I don't think so. Quickly harvest this. Okay, they're still following me, which is a bit rude, a bit unnecessary. I didn't think, you know, I didn't think I was that worth beating up, but I guess I am. Yeah, there's no like breaking line of sight, is there? At least they're slow, unlike the flying predators. Oh no, I can't climb this cliff anyway. I really am tempting fate. Okay.
I'll be your guiding light.
Go. Alright. Jump.
If you have a lot of patient
Damn!
your color will become viscous.
Damn, how did it hit me? Okay, that's alright. We still got some color out of that. And process some crimson as well. Blue in here, crimson in the leg, green here. Okay, so we need to process more crimson and silver. This is actually still a lot. Still a lot in here. I'll do another loop. Again, trying to avoid being battered around. I didn't think that creature was going to be in range. It's really unfortunate, but it's alright. Yeah, there's just sort of, they move to different spots. If I feed it a lot of blue again, also drop a little globule here.
I am the color of your power and fame.
Every playthrough I get just a little bit better at using those, so one day I'll actually be competent. Okay. Okay, let's go.
The enemy will fall before your fury.
I really love the whispers of color. It really adds to this like alien feeling, I think. I'm just gotta move as quickly as possible. I guess this is where the haste glyph would actually come in handy, huh? But I insist on walking this default speed. Okay, this is a pretty good haul actually. And okay. So we could get a little bit more from that. Got quite a lot of crimson now. I'll just try and process more violet. Okay, all those have something. This one doesn't, right? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, more violet. We'll do one more run through here because there's still that little sprout of red that's just like sitting there by default. I think around this ledge, right? Yeah. Finally, there's not a creature by it. Okay. I really feel like there's no accurate way to predict which way the little fireflies are going to go, so sometimes I just place them down and hope for the best. Okay. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Let's go for... Oh, are you serious? Sometimes it just doesn't recognize what you're trying to place down, which is unfortunate. Okay. Some more sprouting. Without the little indicators, it would be almost impossible, I feel like. Okay. Was there one down here? Yes. Two down here, in fact, possibly. Okay. No, still got a lot of space. Okay. I think that's everything. That's as much as I'm going to get that's worth it anyway, so I'll just leave. And from here... How much... I feel like I could almost... If I return to the caves real quick... If I also... Oh, it's tricky. There might be a little bit of gold in Sister's greenhouse. I'll just save it. Okay. Which way to go? Any gold in here? It was just the flourish of gold. It didn't actually necessarily mean anything. That's alright. Or maybe the brother got to it just before I did. It's a distinct possibility. Right, I'll play for another half an hour, 20 minutes or so, I think. Okay. She has something to tell me.
This is a desert on the threshold of death. I think it's under the
One of my
surface
favorite
it came
lines.
from, but it's not deep. All around is emptiness, and hunger is the rule here. Unbearable hunger. There is no worse fate than to cease to live. But all is not lost. This isn't your death, and you can leave this place of the dead. Up above on the surface, deathly emptiness does not exist. It's warm and bright. Life rules there. A full, complete, colorful life. There are so many colors. An insane, unimaginable amount. Here we exist. Up there, they live. It's time, sisters. Shall we all ascend together?
Okay, so the goal is to rise above the void and ascend, so that word's going to keep cropping up. Ascension, that requires a lot of colour, which you may or may not have noticed, but I'm not very good at gathering, so I'm not very good at managing wisely, shall we say. But at least... Whoop. I can't believe that actually worked. Two with one. Okay. I feel like this game definitely falls into the trap of being like terribly hard to recommend. You know, very similar to the rest of iSpec Lodge's stuff, obviously, in that it's like confrontingly difficult, and the themes of the story force you to like think about your own place in the universe, and it's all very confronting, but it's all very good for you. But of course, you can't just say, you know, video games should be like eating your vegetables. You know, it should be good for you. It's spiritually enriching, but it's also really interesting. The gameplay is really novel, and I feel like the more people who do play it or play these kinds of games, the better. Because at the very least, you know, it does prompt. Damn, how did that one get me? It does prompt your, you know, you'd actually think about yourself and reflect on the kinds of games that exist elsewhere as well, that don't quite facilitate the same level of critical reflection. And games can encourage critical reflection in, you know, really subtle, really interesting ways, which has been the focus of my academic research, is these sorts of moments that reveal themselves to actually make a creatively literate game. Okay, we'll see how much
You're almost depleted.
give her. Look how slow we move without any blue in our system. It's some Pathologic 3 Daniil Dankowski total apathy. So vital, yeah. Such a shame there's not much of a market for games like this, or although it makes it more impressive when developers make games they have to know won't sell, which seems to have been iSpec Lodge's whole thing, definitely. There's a real, admirable, I think, quality to designing something this hostile and this, you know, I hate the word pretentious, because I think a lot of people use it as like a, you know, defensive word. You know, it's pretentious, I don't understand it, you know. It's too highbrow for me or whatever. Which I find a really disappointing attitude, obviously. But I do think, like people look at this game, I think, or they hear people talk about this game or Pathologic or whatever, and they think, oh, pretentious, right? It's a game that's trying too hard. It's trying to be smart. It's and I don't know. I feel like it's such a defensive way to look at art. But you're right, is that there's not much of a market to sell people these kinds of experiences.
Stay with me. I'm better. And forget Sister Death from the greenhouse. What did you ever see in her?
Hello, Yavest. Good to see you.
Let her go. She's not your mother. She's imagining things.
But yeah, it's this, I think, dreadful conundrum again, like people focusing on the end product. You know, it's the end product that matters. It's the end result. It's how well does the game stick the landing. Even is part of the conclusion. You know, reviews and all these kinds of things. You know, objective metrics by which we can judge a work of art. Obviously, that's what criticism is, and criticism is cool and important. But I do think a lot of people hide behind, you know, I don't know, review scores and, you know, whether a game sounds like it can sell. It's a shame that is the world that we live in. You didn't just barely miss it, you're still in it. A thing is pretentious, I think, if it pretends to be worthy of paying really close attention to and isn't. Yes, I think I'd agree with you there in that there's this, like, something that's like trying to seem big and important and is also like hammering you over the head, I think, with I am big and important. But for whatever reason, either A, doesn't stick the landing, or just, I guess, gets kind of annoying with that insistence on its own self-importance. You almost want a work of art to be made with humility, I think, and that's where the humanity shines through, and that's where I think a lot of people underestimate, or slap the label pretentious on anything, but I think misunderstand what pretentiousness does actually mean. And most of the time when I hear the word pretentious, I do just automatically assume this person doesn't want to engage honestly with the game's themes, or they don't have the capacity to, or they haven't played it, or they haven't read it, and they just say, okay, I've looked at this game, I've looked at the screenshots, I've read the blurb on the back of the box or the back of the book, I know what it's all about, and from here I can immediately judge it, and obviously that's where we run into real issues, right? If a game seems really meaningful and intelligent because it actually is, then yeah, it's not pretentious. Exactly. I remember one of the top user reviews for Pathologic 2 on Metacritic was someone calling the whole game pretentious because they didn't understand the intro. Yeah, that review is still causing me psychic damage from time to time. That's the kind of thing, I just think, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed, like it's the kind of thing, like, I wish people were more willing to just sort of say, like, I didn't understand it, but, like, that's okay, like, it's not for me, and that's okay, like, it's okay that something wasn't made for you, but I don't know, I feel like, for some people, that is a surprisingly scary thing to admit, that the world out there is not curated for your own experience the whole time, and that some games just aren't, I don't know, some games just aren't going to do it. It is, I think it is hard for people to understand sometimes. We'll go see Eli. And again, like, I don't want to be I think it's really important, don't want to be the fun police. Don't want to be like, you can't enjoy that because it's not clever enough or whatever, or because it is legitimately, too big for its boots or whatever, or thinks it's too smart. This sort of arrogant work of art. People are allowed to enjoy things, but I feel like everyone should be able to acknowledge that, I think, is that some things just aren't made for you, and that we could do with being more critical of art all the time. That if we did that, I think if we had reasonable discussion about it, if people were equipped with the academic or intellectual frameworks and stuff to actually discuss these games intelligently, or discuss works of art intelligently, I think we'd all be better off. So, really, it all comes down to education, to be quite honest, and people's willingness to engage with worldviews outside of their own. But that comes. It's very difficult for a lot of people, and the state of the world is not geared towards giving people an education or equipping people with all of the critical framework that they need to understand the art that they're consuming, which is in a way like the project of this YouTube channel. It's my attempt to provide people with critical framework that they can't get elsewhere, because they've never been able to see games in this way, or they've never been able to read a number of these sort of scholars that I cite. I guess, I'm just here to facilitate that critical discussion, and if I have got through to 5 people total, that I still count that as a win, Okay, she likes silver and crimson, I think.
Looking for the way up. This contraption won't fly anyone to the next limit, even if you fill it with color. so don't get your hopes too high. Only a living soul full of color can ascend to the limit above. But that's impossible, because there's only enough color for one, and you need two to accomplish this goal. Two loving hearts. If their love is true, the breakthrough will succeed. Just kidding. It's funny to us hungry souls, stuck here in this frozen wasteland. Quench my thirst, guest. I know you can. Grow some silver and crimson for me.
Okay. We do actually need to find trees to grow on first, I think, before we give her anything, but we might as well have had that conversation. Yeah, I love this environment as well. Again, similar to the Pangolin forest, we have these sorts of ancient city spires rising up, and the music here almost, sounds kind of triumphant with the sort of military drums and stuff cutting in, and this sort of vision of this great airship, even though it is ruined, and the one sort of flash of colour, that red hair on the front of the airship there. It's the kind of environment, like, you just wish you could go into the blimp and wander around and, see how does a character like Eli furnish her abode, but obviously we don't see that. I can't remember, is there a heart down here that we can, like, parkour to? I don't think, is there? I don't think there is. Oop. But yeah, the common, like, misunderstanding review that I go to cite is also Pathologic 2, which is the one, by Rock Paper Shotgun, which I think is fairly infamous in the community by now. That totally, misunderstands what the deal is, and it angered me at the time, I think, because Rock Paper Shotgun was such a good source of, like, thoughtful reviews on, like, The Void and Pathologic previously, and it was really clear that they respected what the developers were trying to do. But I feel like it was one of those reviews that, again, just assumed that the game was pretentious, and from there refused to engage with it in good faith. And that same reviewer actually did another piece on the Pathologic 3 demo, and again, I still don't think they were really interacting with it in good faith. They were talking about the writing as though it was this incredibly high level mumbo jumbo that was, like, constantly filled with academic terms, and you needed to have done a whole degree to understand. But I don't know, I feel like that attitude as well is very diminishing and very demeaning, I think, because shouldn't experiencing art be all about, like, broadening your horizons? Like, even if the game was that difficult to understand, which it's not, it's just, yeah, it was really hard to read, because I could just sense this, like, just this undertone of scorn through the whole review, both for Pathologic 2 and Pathologic 3. It was, really not upsetting, obviously, because that would be taking a bit too far, but just disappointing again, I think. Frank Lindsay, I think the thing you said about people's difficulty accepting when a work of art just isn't for them is dialed up to 11 when you're a journalist / critic. Definitely, because you're in a position of inherent power, like, over the work, I think, which is what I'm aware of, like, even as a small YouTuber. Like, the things that a critic says have weight, because not everyone is going to run away and play a game or read a book based on what a critic says. And sometimes, people form their opinions entirely on the basis of what a critic or a journalist says about something. And so you have a real responsibility, I think, to accept when a work of art, isn't for you, but you have to be like, well, maybe this could be for someone else. There's always, I don't know, there always has to be that caveat there, I think. I guess, I'm a person who doesn't, he doesn't like to think of things entirely as, black and white. It's good or it's bad. There's, I don't know, redeeming elements in most things. Most things. Some horrible, repugnant, works of hatred and these kinds of things. Nothing redeeming about them, but I don't know. It's just there should be at least an opportunity to engage with just regular artwork. That's not made to hurt people. With good faith. And I guess it's disappointing as well, because a lot of the time the critical tools that a journalist or a critic has, I don't want to claim that like I have all of the intellectual tools, because I don't, and I'm still learning about them every single day, and I will be for the rest of my life. But quite a lot of the time I feel like critics don't have those tools on hand, and it's especially true for a lot of just sort of, beginner reviewers and those kinds of things who, and I don't want to disparage them because a lot of them do really wonderful work as well, but a lot of the time there's just not that sense that they really understand what's going on, or like how to unpackage, a work of art. But it gets really, I feel like here's the point where I start to sound pretentious, and like I'm looking down at my nose at people who don't like analyze art right. But I don't want to say that either, and I don't believe that, because art should be open to interpretation. I think it's you can tell, right, when someone shuts down on a work of art and says, "This is bad," this has no redeeming qualities, which is true of very, very few things. Again, other than sort of repugnant, hateful crap, there's very few things you can actually say that about. I don't know.
It's very fortunate you came, kind guest. We've been waiting a long time for someone who can give. And you're finally here. Of course, this depends entirely on your own will. We don't have the right to ask. But nobody except you is capable of succeeding with the rite of devotio. Before I die, kind guest, I want to explain how important you are to us. I ask only that you please give me emerald or azure, or I won't have the strength to continue.
Yeah, Frank Lindsay's, I think you're right. A lot of it, sadly, comes down to presentation, I think, again, in terms of how seriously you're taken, which I think links into how people perceive, Ice Pick Lodge's games. I think they look at the big dialogue boxes, or in the original Pathologic, or, look at all these reviews that say this is really hard and confronting, and they look on the surface and they see that. I've noticed that works that incorporate more avant-garde or symbolist elements tend to get the worst of the demeaning comments and refusal to engage. I agree. I feel like some people have preconceived notions towards art that they consider pretentious or meaningless, and they just refuse to interact at all when their stereotypically nonsensical art boxes are ticked. I think, I think you're bang on the money with that one. Well, you both are, with both of those comments. I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, I used to be like, what is the point? And, like someone painting something that's just like two shades of paint on a canvas, and I used to think that stuff was really silly. and I was like, how is this art? You know, how what is this saying? Like, shouldn't we be painting landscapes and stuff like that? And shouldn't we be? These were very like stupid, you know, little kid thoughts. Like, what is the point of this? Like, I would rather look at a nice landscape. But then I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I came across this work of art in an art gallery that was like one shade of red on one side and another shade of slightly different red on the other. And I don't know, like, just looking at that, like, that was transformative. I was like, I get that. Like, I sat and looked at that for like ages. And so I feel like people often never get to experience a moment like that, as you say, Yavast, because they just refuse to interact at all with like something that they see as being, you know, wow, look at this, you know, what's this a metaphor for, you know, look down their noses on. Like, I think they want, the word pretentious is deployed when people want to feel smarter than the work, you know. They want to say, oh, I've seen right through you, I know how silly this is, you know, I could write something way better than this. Or quite often I saw this bizarre review for Disco Elysium, and the person wrote, oh, you know, how do people think this is good writing, you know, have they never read a book? And I don't know, I'm sitting there thinking, like, what are you talking about? Like, the writing is really solid, right? Like in Disco Elysium, like really, like so many like lovely little turns of phrase, and lovely little character moments, and it's very like well written, not just for a game, if you ask me, but for a book. But I feel like people again like feel confronted by something, you know, being on, I guess, like a different level than they were expecting. And like, well, I read a lot of books. It was sheer curiosity. It was like a moth flying towards a candle. I was like, what is out there? I gotta see. I have to know. It was an absolute mistake, but you know, this sort of prevailing like, the writing isn't that good, you know, like, you should just read a book. And I think again, it's people seeing games in particular as like, why would I engage with this if I could read a book? You know, like, what is the point of reading in a game? And I think people who are asking those kinds of questions really aren't giving the game a chance, because, you know, like, reading in games obviously has an incredibly long history, text adventures and all this good stuff, and language. Like, just because it's on a screen does not mean we should devalue language, and just because you've read a few books just because you've read a lot of books even does not make, you know, the game that you're watching, the game that you're playing, like, have bad writing. I don't know, it's just, there's these really frustrating attitudes that just make me want to like spend less time on the internet, and I have been sort of only emerged to do research on stuff, which does sometimes happen to be these moth towards a flame moments, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it is totally this, like, I feel like that's where anti-intellectualism comes from as well, is this idea, you know, that I am better than the work of art in question, that I can beat it, that, you know, you might have spent years thinking about this, but like, well, you know, like, I think it's dumb, so
from your heart, you're wasting nerva from your heart.
Gold and blue, okay. And I don't know, that it will always be a disappointing attitude to approach something with, I think. It's the wrong angle to approach anything, which I think is something I touched on briefly in my most recent video essay on the boogeyman in Silent Hill Downpour, as being this, you know, like, do you dare, like, reflect on yourself, sort of thing, and that's what these monsters are symbolizing. But yeah, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do either, to suddenly, like, reshape your entire worldview, or anything like that, but I don't know. I would like to think I've grown in the last 10 years, and I would like to keep growing, so I don't know, it's always kind of disheartening when someone refuses to accept change or accept a work of art as being meaningful and worthwhile to other people. Couldn't pick that up, I guess? No, okay. We'll come back for that then. I'll put that back in there. Okay. Let's go back to the caves. And then we'll just try and rush around a little bit. Problem, yeah, there's sort of, I don't know, I find it really hard to avoid that guy, so we sort of have no choice but to take them out, which is kind of a trap, obviously, because it's just a waste of colour that we don't really need. But yeah, we'll also deliver green and silver to Uta. Okay. Yeah, I guess I sort of, like, shudder to think what I'd be doing right now if I hadn't taken a stab at, you know, the weird looking game about a plague breaking out, you know, 8 years ago. I don't know what I'd be doing, but it would certainly be worse than this. Okay. So, yeah, let's go. Well, first, actually, we'll see if the fog garden has any trees I can actually plant. But yeah, otherwise we'll just beeline over that way.
We'll talk later about what I have seen here.
Okay. I guess he's occupied the chamber, so yeah, that's unfortunate. We'll just have to go up this way. Everything is just it's just so much pressure.
You're almost depleted. You're dying.
Okay. I need a second heart, but I don't think I'm anywhere close to a second heart with you. Yeah, nope. Okay. Silver is still very rare. Let's give you another 50. And then I guess I'll run away somewhere else. Try and survive for a little bit longer until I can plant some more. So yeah, we still need another 350 or so. Silver and green, which is going to take us a little while to gather. See if we can race Manted. It's going to be close. Cool. Okay, we got to get that stuff that I planted before. Right? Should be a little bit of silver and a little bit of green left. I think, yeah, like part of the reason this game is hard to sell to people as well is that there's no easy way to define it. I think that's a really prominent part of marketing, right? Is how do you sell a game like this to people? How do you even begin to explain it if you can't put it into a neatly defined box of all, of similar games that have already been made? If you're a pioneer in the industry, how do you sell, that expression? Hello, Wending Wind. Locked out of my old Twitch account because it's tied to a phone I had like 8 years ago. I love that. I hope one day I do not get accidentally locked out of this Twitch account. That would be awkward. But it's good to have you here anyway for like the last 15 minutes. I'm gonna plant some more silver here, I think. But there was like the Oblivion, like dropping. The Oblivion remaster just sort of appearing out of nowhere. I think a lot of people are like, wow, what a genius marketing tactic. But I don't think that wouldn't work if it wasn't like a huge game. Didn't realize the time zones. Thought you're streaming The Void tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, New Zealand is ahead of everyone else. I'm afraid we're just we're too quick. Next time. Okay, I really need to clarify that. I'm sorry. I'll get into this mine as well. Who's talking to me now?
Lost souls are like that. They are heavy. You let your soul go, and it sinks. The life of a man is a chain of voids, and the lifetime of each void
Damn it.
is short. Color runs out, the soul leaves, and everything falls into slumber.
Was I just not paying attention? What did I stuff up?
You're wasting nerva from your hearts.
What did I even... Where am I? What did I do? Luna's chambers. So we need to go that way. Did I just lose all of my color at the same time? That was my first death after, almost 6 hours of playing, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'll take that. Okay. Let's run up here.
You're wasting nerva from your hearts.
Yeah. Okay, it's not in the same place this time. Where is it this time? Over there. And we go. Here it is. Thought I was going a little bit crazy. Maybe I can reach that in time. Nope. Worth a try. There's another one here though. Ugh. Okay. Had I gone back to harvest the stuff? I don't think I had. Yet. That was the news cycle.
The taboo.
Yeah, keep rambling at me, it's fine. It's a great question. I was probably just going to go with Eli because she's my favorite, but I haven't 100% decided yet. Could be Uta as well. Why does it keep doing that? Oh my goodness. Okay. Do you have a sister? Do you have a favorite? Okay, there's still the trap there. That's fine. Okay. I need to get better at saving, so I have to like witness me do that all over and over again. So they're gonna beat me to that garden, no matter what I do. If we go back to this mine, actually. My choice was, I haven't 100% decided yet, but probably Eli or
when you
Uta.
are full of azure, you will move twice as fast.
And then I just asked you who your favorite was. That question's open to everybody as well. If you have a favorite, now's the time to voice that. Let it be known. Or your favorite brother as well. Because I love the brothers' designs. I think it's so cool. No pressure. No pressure. If you don't have one off the top of your head, you know.
I'll be your guiding light.
Go away. No need for that kind of violence. Okay. Just draw. Nope. Oh, that was close. Okay. So yeah, talking about video games as bodily experiences, that was me tensing all my muscles as I was like, do I have to make that walk all over again? Not today. Ooh. And there's some blue down here. Yeah. And another thing there. The trick will be getting there before the brothers do in the next cycle, so that might be a little difficult, but we'll make it work. Montpellier is the one with the blimp, sort of blimp pants, and Caterpillar is the one on the ball. I like to go with the Triumphator. He's really cool. I like his design a lot. Yeah, Montgolfier is the one with the big blimp. He can float. He looks quite human from aside from that. He seems to be one of the more normal in appearance, more regular in appearance. Okay, a little bit more amber. Yeah. He's quite friendly. I think most of the way through the game, or all the way through the game, really. But he's also, from memory, one of the only mandatory encounters in the game.
From your hearts.
I'm sorry. If you haven't played the game in years, I mean, it's still impressive you recall them. Okay. Let's go back in here. Give away Emerald again. Because I'll only be around for another 10 minutes at the most. I'll just see what I can accomplish in that time. Probably nothing. Someone please explain to me why my character's forehead is like a trampoline. It will just spring them just so far backwards. It's so unnecessary. Okay. Yeah, just take it all. Just take it. Okay, but I am going to keep the silver because I don't want to actually grow some silver trees when the opportunity arises again. Okay, then leave, save. I think possibly won't beat Mantid this time, but we'll see. Leave, save. Love, hate the trampoline forehead. It's like, it's so fun, but also so annoying. And somehow, like, I don't remember it being this bad. Like, I feel like I've been launched off, like, way more ledges than I ever was in previous playthroughs. But yeah, like, I don't know what's happening this time around, but the physics just bouncing me off everything. I think my first run torn between Ava and Una. That's fair. Those are good picks as well. You can use it to propel yourself at great speed into Ava's chamber, but half the time it shoots you backwards back out of the map by slamming your head into the ceiling, that is. I don't know, like,
I will teach you
what the code is for the collisions, or like what physics they were like running on the colliders, but it's fun. Should be on the back of the box. It's trampoline forehead. Allows you to do things you can do in no other game, and that includes be propelled by your own elastic head. Okay. Get that one. There was another one over here we could grow as well. Let's see. Wow, this morning is really flying past. Doesn't really feel like I've been playing it for almost 3 hours, which is a good sign. Okay, where we go? Okay. From here, what do I need to do? I need more silver, I need more green. Unfortunately, slightly out of luck on that count, because I don't really have any green going. I could finally go back down this way and see. The ambient noises are quite effective at being unsettling, I gotta say. Sometimes it's just vibes based, it's fine.
Visit the sisters, young one, and scare them, lest they get carried away with their rejoicing.
Oh, come on, Patriarch, I thought you were cool.
Will now flow into their veins by itself. They're hungry and miss the old times. And I'm old, and thus merciful. But not all brothers are like this. For these reasons, we have agreed to some new rules, but the sisters will not like them. We know this about them. Since it's best not to give them a chance to complain, you need to remind them that our patience is already sorely tested. They need to get used to seeing you as a brother, especially the elder ones. Just don't become too involved. Remember, they're taboo.
Thanks for the advice.
So much color left. Please feed me.
Okay, let's have a look. Are any of the trees actually ready to plant? Yay. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't really have any of the colours that I need to, but we will do some more crimson, I think.
You're losing yourself.
Over, obviously, just because hot, also just a Cleopatra stan, I think. That's, you know, I can't argue with that logic. Love the, I love the very obvious Cleopatra theming in her chamber as well. Okay. This one is also accessible. But maybe I think I'll save this one. I think I'm gonna save this one until I just have just enough green. I just need green and a bit more silver. Okay, because yeah, we just need to feed her as much as possible. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm not really getting the luck I need to plant what I want. We can fill our hearts up with a lot of emerald though, so that will help us. So we'll just let that go.
I'm sure now. These are the final good days. What did we do to deserve this?
Okay. Let's just quickly rush back here, I guess. And then I think yeah, this will be the last thing I do. Yeah, I feel like in my first playthrough I also wanted to go with Ola, but yeah, she's sort of it takes so long to get to her, and then you've got to fill all of her hearts. It's yeah, really difficult. Okay, we're actually getting a few more trees come back into circulation here. It's alright, I knew who you meant. Exactly.
You're wasting your soul.
All of the resources that we'd spent were already like invested elsewhere, and to like reorient yourself on a first playthrough that's almost impossible. Okay, let's leave and then quickly run back up this way, and then go to the mine and grab the violet out of there, and then we're gonna quickly bounce up to those places, but I might have to do that next time. Yeah, we'll go this way, grab the violet, and then save and quit, because that'll be me for today. I feel like 3 hours is a pretty good amount of time to stream, but I'm happy I was able to do it for this long. Yes, there's no chance of reorienting yourself after you've already like committed all of your color to various other, you know, gardens and, you know, goals, which is why, you know, I felt lucky enough to beat the void in the first place. It's already difficult enough, right? Agreed. When I do a video essay on the void, I would certainly spend a long time talking about that chamber in particular. I love all the spaces in this game, but that is always going to be one of my favorites, because by the time you get there, I think, and the lack of ability to reorient yourself, you really do feel her, you know, emotional like devastation and melancholy reflected in that space, but it's also a feeling that you can share as you realize actually maybe none of us are going to be ascending, none of us are going to be getting out of here, because I suck at this game. So here we are, here's where everything ends.
I will teach you to bring the dead to life.
Yeah, it's a difficult game to recommend.
I will teach you to bring the dead to life.
I forget the other chamber I really liked, for lack of better words. The mature sister. Is it Irie with her or Aya, however you want to pronounce it, with her like sort of gardens and these giant like endless water pools and like waterfalls and stuff. I also really love that chamber too. I think we have similar taste in environments. If that is the one you're thinking of. But again, I do like all of the spaces in this game. Just like all of my favourite games, they sort of tend to stick out.
You're wasting Nerva from your...
Okay, I'm gonna save it and leave it there. Just in the interest of time, I do have other places to be today, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We made a decent amount of progress today. Next time we'll continue making it through the feast before we hit the famine. I'll try and do my best to lead us into that famine, into a good spot, but I sincerely doubt it. I remember that's normally the place where all of my well-laid plans go to die, so time will tell, but it probably won't be good. Going back to sleep, enjoy your sleep, Francolensis. I'm glad I could be motivating enough to rouse you for a few hours at the very least, so that's good. I'll see everyone later, possibly very briefly next week. But yeah, otherwise, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and I'm working on a bunch of video essays right now, so I'll do my best to produce another one of those, another one or two of those in May. So yeah, very exciting. It's all go on this channel, which is great. So, hope everyone has a good rest of their week, and thank you for watching. Thanks for catching those last few minutes, Wending Wind. Yeah, it's great to hear from you. Alright, catch you later.